I don't know.
And then you just hit the play button.
I don't know. I'll have to ask Ross that, if we can do that.
All right, we'll call the City of Kewaunee Common Council meeting to order for Monday, December 12th, 2022. Let the record show all members are present. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a brief moment for prayer and meditation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands. Yeah, item 3 on the agenda, approval of November 14th, 2022 Common Council minutes and November 28th, 2022 special Common Council minutes. Do we have any additions or corrections? Any?
Well, I think we have a page that was added. We just need to, you know,
Right, it was, yeah, Wendy stopped in today and told me that this, I guess you want to say the third page, it was like 7 or actually 8 through the end of like 9K was missing in the packet. So it's not, you know, I reprinted it. I have it in the official packet, so you guys did not get that third the third page.
So we'll let this meeting's minutes reflect those items 8 alpha through, or even 7. Is there
Well, because 7 is on the,
A, there's 7B?
no, there is no 7B that
Okay.
just talked about going into closed session.
So then just let the record reflect that it was noted that those were missing from our packet, but they will be included in the official record, right? Is that good enough?
I would like to make one correction.
Okay,
Reports from month ending September. This is a waiting motion to approve the financial reports. Month ending. And that's not really what happened, and I would like to amend that. Motion made to accept the report is given and with the understanding it's not completely accurate and will not be until the transition to new software.
does that make sense? I mean,
What are you, which? M.
wait about
Okay, yeah, all right, so that needs to be amended. If you, can you do me a favor and just send that to me like in the email? And then I will make that if they approve that correction.
Would you make the motion, Randy?
Make a motion.
Amend.
I would make a motion to amend the financial approval by saying that the report is given and with the understanding it's not completely accurate and will not be until the software is complete. That is my motion.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Tim. Any further discussion?
Probably should, yep. I have a correction.
On this particular item?
Oh, no, it would be on another item.
Okay, then this one right here, we're moving on right now. No, but don't we have to make this amendment correction first with a motion in a second, and then we can go to another one?
You could do one motion to do all the corrections.
Oh, she'll have to amend her motion then.
Okay,
So
You
we
can
have
do
a
it every
motion
way.
and a second on item
9M.
9M. Any further discussion on 9M? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carried. All right, go ahead, Kathy.
I'd like to make a correction on the mayor's report number 6. Congratulating Robin Nelson as becoming our new chief of police.
Oh,
Like to me. But congratulations for neither case. So needs to be Robin Miller.
Any further discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
You have to do a motion to accept the
I'll make
second
a
minutes.
motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting, with the amendment.
Do we have a second? Any further discussion?
Okay,
Including the,
Including the changes as noted, correct?
we're gonna come back to the stuff that's not in the packet for presentation.
Yeah, we weren't saying we're coming back. It was gonna be completed in the record, entered into the record, the official record.
now we made a motion to approve the November 14th, the November 14th minutes as with the corrections.
Correct.
Okay. The inserted missing page. Right, okay.
Any
But-
further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Okay, now are you gonna approve the November 28th meeting minutes? As a, because you guys didn't,
I was hoping to do them together, but we will be
because that's
doing
not what
them.
you guys did.
Okay,
I make a motion to approve the 28 special.
I'll second it.
discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. All right, item 4, public comment. Does anyone here wish to speak under public comment? All right, please come up, state your name and address, and we'll give you 3 minutes.
Hi, Bruce Hendrickson, N3664 County Road AB, Luxembourg. At the November 14th meeting, brought up with the pricing of the Kamachek property. I guess I was confused with the council that I asked for, Kathy and her investors to get the price on the property. Later on, it was stated that the testing was not complete, and maybe this is something that has been answered, since November 14th, but I'm just on. They said the DNR testing was not done on the property. I was just wondering if that got done from November 14th to now, or that's not.
All right, well, we'll enter your question, but we can't respond, so. All right, thank you, appreciate that.
Jeff, you can respond, you just can't motion on anything.
I guess I've never seen us really respond to public comment historically.
Yeah, we have an answer. If there is one, he could have it.
Would you like to respond, or would you like to?
I mean, I can tell you that right now, what we're missing is additionally expected of for this.
Years?
Yeah.
What we're missing is apparently it's supposed to be a vapor study. Also. This is the old building foundation stone property. Somewhere. Capper with someone else. But the one thing for sure was the one in our reference was that the from ground is not. So, or somebody. And that's why we don't have.
Part of all that.
There was a.
Many years ago.
Many years ago, we did that.
So if it's a bad question, let me know.
I can fill you in a little bit of it. Budget. Problem. Well, along with our budget.
This,
Yeah.
this, any idea what the vapor site costs?
That's what we're inquiring.
This will be on the Public Property Committee's agenda, in regards to making sure whatever needs to be done to make this property marketable and moving forward with it, can continue, so.
What about that, the foundation, what kind of roadblock is there?
I can tell you a little bit.
Do you know anything? I mean, what? That has to look into that.
It would just be a construction thing. It isn't any kind of hazard. It would just be an awareness thing that the developer that's coming in, and if the property's been capped, to do anything below the cap, would probably get the interest of the DNR and what that's gonna entail. So,
And is that the site was supposed to be clean. That was my understanding when we started the whole project.
include the foundation removal.
With the foundation removal, I just recently found out that the foundation was still in there. I spoke with Art Schiller about this, and he told me that part of the foundation was in there. When I was the mayor, I was under the understanding that the $4.2 million was a clean site when it was done. I mean, Jeff, you were on the council back then.
Clean site, ready to develop.
A clean site, ready to develop. What happened in between there, and I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just simply saying that what happened from the time I was defeated till the time that it is now, that I don't know. All I know is that the site, we were supposed to receive a clean site ready to build. That's all I can tell you. That was the understanding.
What's left to be done? Phase 2 has been done. What's left to remediate? The foundation would not necessarily have to be remediated if somebody's gonna be driving pilings and building on top, so. Again, that's gonna be something we're gonna determine exactly, and
I don't think anybody would dig a basement there and be below the water line, so I don't know why they would do that. Plus,
there was nothing contaminated in that basement. I mean, we were in that basement. It was as clean as a fresh basement was just poured, I swear to God. There wasn't an oil stain, nothing down there.
Plus, I believe there's like reinforcement rod that lead from the, I think there's reinforcement rod that lead from the wall. It's anchored in there somewhere. But like I said, that happened after 2016 when I was defeated, so I don't know. I didn't go down there every day to look. But I was down there when they were taking the building down, not every day. But I did speak with Matt Murphy about it too, and he said that, yeah, part of the foundation was still in there. I was under the understanding it was all coming up. That was the understanding that I had. Everything comes out, clean site, ready to go.
All right, is there anyone else that wishes to speak under public comment tonight? Good evening.
Hi, Renee Pufflum, N2317, State Highway 42, here in Kewaunee. So I am speaking tonight about the last time we met with Kathy, her plan on the 14th. And my goal isn't really to support the specifics of her plan, but more that she gets a fair treatment through the process. She has stuck a lot of money into it, $150,000 of her own money so far. Just so that everyone's aware. I want to thank Eric, I thought you did a great job of moving the meeting forward last time, and Robin, for acknowledging that gap in communication that put a lot of distress on Kathy. I do and am aware, and it seemed like the council was aware that Kathy was distressed about a lack of communication. And my question is, why wasn't there a phone call? People were reading her posts that she was trying to get information back to her investors and developers. No one picked up a phone. And I understand council members, maybe that's not your role. But Mr. Eddy, Mr. Mayor, I think Kathy deserves better than that. Honestly, I don't think it's asking too much. For 5 minutes, clear it up. Come to the next meeting. That's why we're having it. But it's a pretty vague email that Mr. Eddy sent. Yeah. That's my opinion. So I wanted to bring that to the attention of the council. And that if you say you're interested in working with her, then I expect that those actions meet your words. So that's where I felt there was some influence there. It seemed like when I got here, people were already like, this can't work, this is seasonal. Well, that's up for the developers, you know, the team to decide. I don't think somebody's gonna invest in a $26 million project. And the answer is, well, it's seasonal, it can't work. I think the opposite can happen. I think it can draw more people to this community. I really do. I think the knee-jerk reaction is, well, then it's gonna take away from other businesses, and I don't really think that's the reality of it. I think it's gonna bring more people this way. And for lots of different reasons, not just hotel accommodation. Kathy's plan is big, huge. It can have a huge impact on this community. Positive ways, and I'm sure there are some negatives that's gonna come along with it. But we're either gonna stay the same, or we're gonna progress, because time isn't still for us. There are other people that are interested in Kathy's idea. So we're gonna let this plan go down the road, or are we gonna work with her in the spirit of collaboration? So, also, I do want to know if the attorney had a chance to get back Kathy on her questions that we submitted. You know, a lot of people have submitted those questions, so I just was wondering if anybody knows the status on it, or if you can answer that.
Heath, I don't know what the attorney has had an opportunity to look at those.
You're the one that's gonna answer this? That's why we.
I'm not speaking.
Oh. I thought you were looking at me.
Appreciate. Fine.
Okay.
Pleasure, council, if they want to respond in writing.
Like to hear.
Didn't see the questions. Oh, if there's some questions that need to be answered, I think we need to get back to people. That's only fair.
I think we need to get back to people, but I think we've already come to the conclusion that she is going to put an offer in on the property at the July 9th meeting. I mean, a January 9th meeting. I'm not sure we need to answer those questions now if she's putting an offer in to purchase the property.
I would agree with
I don't know
her.
the questions either.
She's,
Investors we're looking at for her, so I think she's still working in collaboration with her to get their ducks. in a row.
sure. Well, we've been at this since 2018, so it's
I
5
know.
years. It's not like we have not worked with her. She's had extensions twice already. And she said,
I feel like the ball's starting to roll.
it is. And
Yeah,
she-
and I feel like there's a little stutter here, and I just wanted everything to be out on the table.
I think we need to wait until we see what her offer is.
That's fair enough, fair enough. I was wondering, we gave those,
I mean,
No,
it's January
question,
9th, so it's.
I don't know what the process is for getting back to people.
Okay, the council, Heath had asked council if they would like those to be responded to. The council indicates yes, correct?
Understand though. The questions were handed, we have 5 copies of the same question. Same questions printed 5 times. And they're not directed at any specific person, so one is responses. Do you want draft responses or do you want repeat responses?
If you craft the response, you should. Craft your appropriate response and you want to put it in the text.
Okay.
Or
Or do you want-
otherwise, you have to just communicate.
Yeah,
What I mean-
fair enough. I think the communication.
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Do we want to do that before she sends the proposal or?
Is anything relevant? Is there anything relevant? I didn't see the question, so is there anything relevant?
She didn't ask the questions. So they, I guess, deserve the answer.
She had those questions herself. She could have posed those prior to our meeting. So, all right, well, that's it for public comment on the 3 minutes. I appreciate it. Thank you. And just for the record as well, I'm not on Facebook and I was not contacted. I don't believe Heath got a phone call. I don't believe any single council member got a phone call from her. So our phones are open. That would be the appropriate way to go instead of social media. And I indicated that the reason the meeting was canceled, and that didn't mean I don't want another meeting. It was a conflict. Okay, so that was it. Thank you. All right, so anybody else wish to speak under public comment tonight?
What were you saying?
Anyone else wish to speak under public comment tonight? All right, public comment is closed. Thank you. Item 5, boards, commissions, committee and staff reports. Personnel committee agenda minutes, public property committee agenda minutes, plan commission agenda minutes, historic preservation commission agenda, public works committee agenda minutes, finance committee agenda minutes, and staff reports.
I would move that we accept the minutes as submitted.
Any questions, discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, item 6, mayor's report. Item 1, approve appointment of Donna Wallace to the Community Center Committee. Just a brief background, you all had that in your packet. Donna is from Kewaunee. She's worked for the county in human resources before retiring. She's been an advocate for seniors, volunteering as a driver to medical appointments and delivering meals to homebound Kewaunee residents. She served on the community center board in the past, and she had resigned to care for her husband. He passed away, and she is now looking to resume her volunteer work. That's a brief background on her. Any discussion?
She brought a lot to the table when she was on that committee. Or so basically, filling the seat that she vacated, so.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item 2, update on payroll structure. Actually, these should be A's and B's, but that's okay. Update on payroll structure for ambulance department staff. There was a request by the ambulance department to go from quarterly to monthly. And after a conversation that I believe the administrator had with the ambulance director, he was in agreement. That would be great if we could go to monthly. It was suggested possibly to go to bi-weekly, but the timing to get timesheets together and everything, it was felt that monthly would be better than quarterly, and that's okay by staff, correct?
I did check that, check with the fire department. Enforcement process, but they're not. Fire department doesn't have that term to the final process. So. A monthly billing payroll process.
So it would be A1 and 2 after this.
I will make a motion that we change the payroll structure for ambulance to monthly.
I would say.
Need a roll on this, do we? It's just an administrative thing. Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 7, unfinished business. A, approve revised emergency operations plan. So you saw in your packet, the many pages of the EOP. There was just some housekeeping things updated in there, personnel updated in there. That's basically it. Everything else, the structure of the plan remained the same. So I would look for a motion to approve the EOP. Go ahead.
I see under where it says storm shelters there in the city of Kewaunee, and it says high school, Holy Rosary Emmanuel Lutheran School. I thought that at some point in time, we had the old Union Bank building was also a shelter,
I believe
if I'm not mistaken.
that was no longer once it became privatized. And so we no longer have that option on the table.
You're right about that.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Do we have a second? Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 7B, follow-up information on sale of tax parcel 3124LGL 17-1-13-1. Where's that on? 1.1? Yep. Heath, I'll turn it over to you. This will be on the little sliver by the marina.
Yeah,
Yeah, it works.
revised offer to purchase. Put in various, including the letters I drafted and sent to them. They made some changes to the interior of the offer, as you kind of see in the line off. And then they attached an agreement at that in the Word document. And that's more or less the. I think one thing might be to point out is that contingencies 3A under environmental audit, we should, from our perspective, we fulfilled our obligation. Counter offer, do a 3-1. And we can offer to do a 3 offering things to. We did on the best. So they are children draw up the legal records in order to separate one project from the remainder of the problem of that part. So that's the purchase. So you get and we that, you know, all the children.
Yeah, and
Go ahead.
I guess my concern, my concern is that we have a limited liability of $5,000. I don't, there's a lot of pages in this contract, and I'm not a lawyer, and I just want to make sure that we're not on the hook for anything that's above, $1,000 selling this.
Heath, I don't believe that we should be exceeding that.
I think so. Tony is going to review it. Said we would get that to you. I don't think that there's anything in here that will be but I did send them all of this material. I don't really have an issue with it. We want to put a conditional attachment to that saying that you know, probably this other than copy to correct the term on the last page. And also just our attorneys in line with.
Vote required tonight. Then after attorneys.
You don't have to do one. I didn't per se. Think that we had to do on this one. But there's no requires.
I guess I was under the impression we were gonna have him already having looked at this so that we would be able to move on it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, part of the problem too is that the opportunity former attorney. So I think that's where we got lost in the shuffle somewhere. Former attorney.
Then everything that's in the packet, I mean, we got Russ here tonight, so that he's got a clear understanding of the council's feelings here, that everything is in order. It's just a matter of the attorney just doing that final stamp that we're not gonna incur any additional costs per se over the selling price. Russ, do you have any questions, concerns, or anything you'd like to speak? All right, please come up.
Have you guys, the phase 1 been conducted? And what were the results of that? There are phase 2. It doesn't require one per se. It does indicate that there's follow up on. Site is at the Cars to get loaded onto ferries to get around. So if there's anything on the property, it wasn't because they were sitting on one of those, it was right at the north end of that project. So, and for all we know, there may have been something. All right. Yeah, we can share that if you want. Yeah. We would want as part of that.
Yeah, that should
You
be.
didn't even know phase one was conducted.
Yeah, I think we got a report.
I'm just saying, he hasn't,
Oh,
he was not aware of it.
We need to get a survey done to extract that off of the Father Marquette Park property. As we know, it was all listed as one. So we were going to do that, correct? Yeah.
The surveyor about getting some kind of bids. The current essentially is both of them separated by after the drive right away.
You shouldn't even have to do any surveying per se. It should be a matter of just splitting it as a legal description and filing it.
Descriptions.
Well, what's his price?
Contact me, we can ask them what it requires them to do that. That's the process.
Who normally does our stuff? Tony? We get a
I
price from
think
both of
Garen
them.
McNulty would be the guy.
I mean, we'd get a price from both. of them.
Either way, it'll be legal document. It'll be done deal.
Yeah, I would think Stan's up would be cheaper if they got pretty mapped all around. Okay.
Yeah, just get him in contact with the administrator and get a proposal. I guess my hope and expectation would be that by the next council meeting, we should be able to have something that can get voted on and approved and I mean, like we would have the CSM, not even CSM, but we would have this broken out by then, hopefully. It's the holidays, might be tough. I don't know how backlogged the assessors are, or
I've
the
already got it.
Survey.
surveyor.
Done. So we have a proposal. There's a lot. Could we call a special?
We could, I
Yeah,
was
I
just
would-
gonna say.
I'll be available for a special meeting to help expedite this as fast as possible.
And I think step one is to get the phase one, so we can look at that, and everything's okay with that, we can take that off the board. And we can do the property description. From there. Kind of good to go. I just wondered if you can also whenever you're ready to go. Whenever you have the survey or have it cut off or whatever it needs to be. Operating under the assumption that this is gonna happen. Yeah. Sure. Hopefully we can start. Yeah. But- Backlog.
Yeah, it's important that Russ understands the direction and the mood of the council here on this, and I think we're all in agreement. It's just the ducks in a row for the final stamp is, I guess, all.
You
we're-
only see $5,000 and we could have.
Yeah,
Because the phase one thing is on, if there are other expenses.
well, the offer does, if there is no requirement for a phase two, so that would be if you choose to do the phase two after you take ownership, so we'd be out of it already.
Requirement to do a phase.
There was no requirement, correct?
It wasn't, it was just, we're planning on doing something else. Other than, don't think for what you're planning to use it for is hard to say. So, yeah, we'll do phase two, I guess. Yeah. If you're planning to use it for pediatric.
Yeah. Anything else for us? Well,
I'm gonna be leaving town. We've got some big things going on before. Hopefully, Stan and Heather can.
or you can call me, Heath, whatever you need to do. So like next month's meeting, or do you want, I mean, or special meeting, whatever the meeting is that we finalize this agreement and get it forward. I don't know. Or Chad, anybody, they can represent it if needed.
You can zoom in. And Chad can come and, yeah, if I have to, I can fly back for it.
I don't know if that's necessary for this.
We just need to keep the ball rolling because this has been out there.
I agree.
All right.
Thanks, Russ. Appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Yep. Let me know if you need anything. All right, so we'll move on to item 8A, approve request for on-street loading area for Kewaunee Library. Carol, what do you all have going on over there? Your loading dock? So I think that was a pretty simple thing that was, met with what, planning commission? Public Works. Or Public Works? Planning commission.
Yeah, the request is. Designate a loading area for the library during their business hours, so they have a place for the delivery vehicle to stop. Not having to haul stuff from here. But all they're gonna do, especially for 24 feet. 24 feet, yeah. 24 feet from distance, a double thing, and then put a sign up. It looks a lot like the sign in the back of the city. And park for church, and you know, when people go to church, they can still park in that area, but they needed that spot so they can unload and so it was just, I mean, it was pretty, seemed pretty simple.
The request for non-street loading.
Give a second. Nelson?
Ooh, okay, who's second?
Nelson?
We had a lot of us.
Yeah,
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. 8B, approve request to order a vac jetting truck for the sewer department. So we have a current truck that is, I believe, 30 years old, mate. 30 years old, and it's exceeded its lifetime. We've gotten great service out of that truck. It is currently still serviceable. However, there are a lot of issues presenting themselves. I would say it's time to do something. As it's stated in our packet that there are other options out there. But fiscally, it was determined a new vehicle would be the better choice here. So the recommendation came up to purchase the new truck from Public Works Department. The monies as stated would come for the equipment replacement fund and the undesignated funds, right, Heath?
$200,000 out of the sewer department on the surplus and $200,000.
And that replacement fund is dedicated for equipment.
And the equipment to clean. So in turn, this will be. Future. Extra, so it's kind of. It's our funds.
User fees
The
support
state is
that.
interested in maintaining. The state is interested
to be maintaining that fund.
Yep.
Yes, well, we do have a lien on our facility.
Leave like 98,000 to pay to that fund over 3 years.
3 years. The DNR isn't that strict on that, that's just guideline. It shouldn't be a problem. All about this.
The recommendation from the Public Works Committee was to approve.
Not to exceed $480,000.
That's right.
You looked at used ones,
Yes.
they were at what price?
Old and bought after, Adam Axle, which one did us very well. They were going anywhere from the lowest cheapest was like 280,000 up to 350. So you're only talking $1,000 difference for something with several $1,000 a year. Price down.
I did look at them today for about a half an hour. I was on the website, just typed in back trucks for sale, a bunch of stuff. And he's right, that's about the price that the used ones were in. I mean, you can get some for 80,000, 60,000. If you read down further, it says, as is no. I mean, that's kind of what you're getting. These were from dealers that handle.
And you're replacing people.
Well, yeah, it's, 15 years old, so. And he's right, they were all the way up to, I think, 355,000 was most that I saw for one that was 3-4 years old, I think it was. 300.
I was talking to a couple of the gentlemen that we were getting, estimates from, and that was something else, mentioned something, new stuff on the market, but also. On that, as possible. Because if you're looking at the market, try to get food to 450 in the council and have it by city. 4 to 5 day span, the truck will be there.
When do you expect to get the new one?
It was gonna be, yeah. Late March and June. It's actually a relatively short. It's a huge chassis already.
Less time than takes to get a Silverado right now.
One of the few ones that's actually been pretty good. Believe that I think, Story Equipment of America actually secured these chassis.
Well, plus we'd have to travel to Kentucky or Alabama or some. I mean, most of these trucks were not in the state of Wisconsin.
Not to exceed $480,000, you said too, right? Thank you. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
I'd like to try and mix it up. So I'm just gonna go normal. Zimmerman,
Aye.
Nelson,
Aye.
Taylor.
Yep.
Wiznicki.
Aye.
Brown. Blaha. Brewster.
Aye.
Shelton. Okay. thanks.
Motion carried. C, approve
Now
proposal
I
to
do it
install
all.
CIPP to repair a sewer main at intersection of Miller Street, Highway E and Milwaukee Street, State Highway 42. Nate, do you want to put some words around that for us? Thank you.
We're sitting back here. Yeah, piece of cast in place pipe. It essentially takes the pipe that is in place that will be irritating or failing as a hose pipe. We push it through either with steam and water. And it gets either, and when it's done, it's essentially put inside, like, it'd be like a structural plastic pipe inside. Other pipe would fall apart. Very cost effective. There's a company that trying to. Neighboring city. There's smart. Or even if it's down there, Denver test is also a company to see what this product and how they work for us. There is other options to look into further.
What's the history of success or failure on it? It's new to me. I think it sounds fantastic as an option for us. What's kind of been the success ratio for it? Always, pretty much. Mhm.
Questions I'd answer him were like future connections, if they will have the device that may or may not have future development on. They already developed, connecting. Risk. Negative of the player.
Okay. Fantastic.
So they have a tool that side of this, and weld that new down to it.
Yeah, they'll do it on the outside if it's a new installation, like, for instance, if we're gonna do girls this particular one. I'll go through, measure exactly where every lateral is after the cleaning. So the person affected by this may have a 18-hour hold on sewage.
All right,
Make the motion to approve the proposal to install the CIP. Miller Street and Milwaukee Street.
second,
I'll second that.
any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Nelson,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Woznicki,
Aye.
Brown, Blaha, Brewster, Shelton,
Aye.
Zimmerman.
Aye.
Carried. Thanks, Nate. Next item. 8D, approve revised fee schedule. Keith, you want to put a little word around that?
Yeah, the finance committee is working through. Um. By. Along with additional fees by revenue tax. The front page of your action sheet actually listed those four opportunities that we made in next one, but the attachments include highlighted areas where all the things that actually recommended to go in the text. Incorporating changes in building inspections and the zoning fee to include the development of new fees. But passed through maybe earlier this month. If you adopted them, they were going to effect as of January 1. The adjustments are intended to address requirements of state statute, several permit fees and require others to charge. Or you can codify one place or in third case process can be. One of the features of the zoning fee US goes but primarily aimed at site plans. Not get all the way to the end and get to the county and the recorder the register of deeds and find out that, oh, hey, you missed a bunch of stuff. Nobody else caught it for them. That's one of the things we try to do is find it out. Also develop some kind of cost estimate. What it is before you get there. If you have a rational cost estimate. You don't need to actually apply for the state. The revenue changes will be nominal. Most of the one exception is the one where you consolidated a lot of money charges. Cost structure is about so we're simplifying all by It was quite a few. Yeah, it was a long list. Up a little bit, so we said, no, it's for you. Yeah. So, easier for us in terms of calculating cost of the contracts and then implementing those. And if you have any questions, please. Finance committee passed it through.
So do we have a motion to approve the fee schedule?
This question, because I thought the 2% fee. Which is that is one.
Yep.
So it's the, on page 6. Right. Yeah, so the $35
Mhm.
has been moved over to the 2% fee column. That 2% fee is on the minimum 60, maximum 600. And we moved the replacement thing for $25 change, maybe by 2% cost. That thing on the second line over one column. Does that make sense?
Yeah, those are actually, those are changes that we didn't quite capture in the.
Well, there were corrections that just like, that the initial thing was the original things and then the changes and that.
She's saying this. Yeah, so this line moved over here. This one moved over to here.
My contract. And it was, and I was told $60. In fact, I should have paid something other than $60. Let me know, send me, I'll pay.
Well, it's,
Yeah.
I mean, if you got it on January 1st, it'd be 35. Oh, okay, so.
Thank you for your support.
No, I mean, really. Let me know what I'm supposed to do, because if I should have paid something else,
No,
send me a bill and I will.
no, part of
I don't roll like that.
the problem is, we had the existing fee schedule as it was originally printed. Included that fee as sliding scale based on the cost of the project. And then we changed it when Brett got here and the building inspector, we changed the fee structure and that simplified it down by 50. So this, because we want this fee schedule.
Well, yeah, my contract was waiting to start.
Yeah. And then,
And so it's like, well, you can't start unless you have a permit.
Yeah.
Or it doubles.
right,
That's true.
yeah.
That's in the ordinance.
Right, no, we didn't want to do that. We didn't put it in. So this should be a much approach to doing things. So we don't have it all codified, but doing numbers,
All I can say is, let me know.
yeah.
Can I make one comment?
We do have a motion on the floor. You can do it after we get the second. Do we have a second?
I'll have a second.
All right, go ahead, John.
Yeah, what are we gonna, have we decided what we're doing with properties that need attention? Because I know Brett said he was not gonna be going around, looking at properties and telling. people
Yeah.
you've gotta paint this
So
and
we
that.
had that discussion with the Public Works and it was just kind of, I mean, number one, we respond to complaints, obviously, right? When it's to the police department, street department, and having a complaint, that it could be anything from ask your weeds to your siding, your garbage, whatever it is, right? People are like, blame. So the other thing is also, we're hopeful that, the police, the same thing. We don't need to be going through backyards and looking for trouble that's out there, but if there's some obvious things that need to be addressed, we need to be addressing them.
So my question is, who's gonna address that?
Last brought up, it was acknowledged that there are ordinances on the books to handle these. Neighbor, has no problem with what you're doing. Why does somebody 5 blocks away have a problem?
John's asking.
Yeah, still, you don't want.
Uh,
you don't want-
So I think if the
Here's
neighbor
one.
wants to-
You're a zoning administrator.
Police,
No,
then they can,
it's the police.
that's correct.
Or when somebody,
Ordinance. That's
Well,
the
right.
ordinance.
Based off of your
We
ordinance.
don't need to hire.
Who the enforcer is.
What the police have to do by issuing a citation.
So the question I have is on the zoning, as public hearing, it's got $1,000. Do people have to pay $1,000 to go against the zoning board, or is it the 275?
Currently it's 275.
It's going up to 1,000?
That's what's proposed. Now, if you prefer to lower the number, I can perfectly understand that. Because that's the shell shock.
Because
I
every,
did go back through and look at your. It has been going up periodically over time. The current number, 275, is about $50 more. Double what it was 20 years ago. So it's been going up.
So why is $1,000 justified? How is that number arrived at?
Well, I mean, typically, I don't know how you justified it, but it should cover the cost of the meeting. So, whatever publications have to be put out there, it's got to cover your your administrative costs.
so if you turn somebody down, they have to pay that $1,000 again. So every time they have to come in, I know that's how it's been in the past. Every time they come against the board of zoning board, they've had to pay.
Well, they should, yeah. If they come in front of the zoning board of appeals, they pay the fee. If they get denied and then they reapply, that's a separate issue. So
They have to pay.
they have to pay it again. Yep.
I
Do you have
think
a
that's-
breakdown of the cost of what a meeting and a
that's-
gathering is? I mean,
I
that
think
seems
that's-
kind of high.
I think.
Well,
I've seen like
like
five,
Grant's saying, with the
600.
publications, it needs to get posted and all that, that's fees incurred by the city. Expense.
I understand,
And you're not-
but how much does that really equate to?
Well, and not only that, though, you want your fees, like a variance and a conditional use and a zone change. Those are things that you don't want people doing on a regular basis. So you put a stiffer fee on it to deter that from happening because, you guys have spent time, if you've had, like your comprehensive plan, you've spent a lot of time in creating that plan. So you want that plan to stay, to stay true to what you did. So these are supposed to be deterring people from changing your master plan.
Deterring it from reason.
Right. And going
Yeah.
outside your.
I understand this can probably, have good points too. Think that if the policy is somehow aggressive to the point that only well-heeled people would do that and for their rights.
Align.
Well, where I've come from before,
Mhm.
$500-600 is what we charged.
And that were, what, and
Well, I wasn't in Wrightstown. I wasn't in Wrightstown. Howard's Grove, Oconomowoc, Random Lake. We were charging $500-600 for, zone changes and appeal processes.
we are a little,
We're a little high. It's a little lower.
yeah,
I-
that's what I was asking.
I looked at it again today and I thought probably should. So if you want to suggest changing it to something like $500.
Would that be more in line? Would that be more in line?
Would $500 cover the cost of the meeting, Joanne?
Well, if we have to, depending on, if you're doing a zone change, probably not, because you have a publication that's got to go out there. You have letters that have to get mailed, to within that radius.
In the case of zoning board, variance and appeal section.
That probably would cover, because you're not,
Probably be fine.
you're not doing the
Those are-
publications.
I have those listed. separately.
I just said you got rezoning, zoning, and
But
I have those listed separately.
are,
We should differentiate. Variances and appeals typically, unless we have from the law, nothing to do. So you could probably do a $500. If you want to charge a little bit more for an appeal. you have to have your-
Sean, you have a question?
Yeah, I'm on the zoning board. We don't meet very few. That's quite.
Need some money then. is it?
What is that? And then I've seen some of the requests to be simply someone wanting to have a fence put up on the corner lot. And, family across from the school. Thousands of large amounts for that. Or when they just put something they want. Change. The last one we had this week was Russ came in
and wanted to have the setback changed. The existing building that's there is not in accordance with the setback line.
And he wanted to marry it up in line with that.
Pay $1,000. Build on this thing. So I think $1,000 is a lot. I don't know if we can have the bubbles based on what has to happen. The question.
I think the conditional, I think the conditional use in the plan commission will be hearing, so I'll have to. $1,000.
Well, then I would recommend, just, I would recommend them to lower the amount of the rent. Lower the amount of. Differentiating. So it's. Under that. And then the commission from the board.
A lot of municipalities will also, in the application process, they will list it in there that any professional fees are above the fee that you're charging, so that if, you know, if the attorney's fee ends up being $300, we're not, now, we're passing it along. Or if you need a surveyor to review something, we, you know, we pass it along.
I like that. Excellent.
It's kind of a blank check that you're still submitting for your request, but
But you could also have it listed on your application, because you're not gonna get the bill from the attorney or the surveyor or whoever until after the fact. We would bill them back for that.
And it's more appropriate.
Right.
Robin?
In the other cases involving subdivision site plan.
Okay, well, like, this situation where my office is, it's always been residential, it's always been a business, there's never been a house there, but it's zoned residential. So that is,
You're suggesting $1,000 deal?
that's what I'm saying, that's what.
Thank you for your support. Thank you for your support.
But I don't know.
But if you're residential and if your use is allowed,
Conditional use may have been granted in the R1, but I don't know that that would even be a conditional use allowed in an R1. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. You have a conditional use, there's an R1. I can think of other examples I won't get into, but yeah, you're fine.
But I guess the reason I brought this up is because I'm thinking of the constituent. And up on, because it was too close to the houses, and the setbacks aren't there because of the way property lines were drawn, so he had to pay that 75 every time he went in front of the board. So I can't imagine him having to pay $3,000, or whole.
but see, then you also have the issue of, a property, if it's not in compliance with your setback, like if your requirements are for a property to be X amount of feet wide and it's not, it's a non-compliance property or non-conforming, and you can't make a property that's non-conforming more non-conforming. So therefore he may not be allowed to
That
apply.
discussion should have happened prior to going for an appeal. in the first
Exactly,
place.
exactly.
Explain because, but the other thing is you also can't make it before you move a house, or you can't. So anyway, that's the first thing that came to mind for me, is because he's a customer of mine, and it was 3 times.
Right, if I, when it came out, I would have had that conversation.
That I think is partly why Jim said, there's not a lot going on there. People are coming in, speaking to city staff and being explained, here's the ordinance, here's what the zoning says and variances are. You can appeal it, but it's highly unlikely it's going to change, and here's why. And then that person is made understanding of exactly what their situation is.
Now.
And if they
It
get
was never
professional
recorded.
opinion from outside that's saying, oh, no, I disagree, then I guess you can appeal.
So you're deserving of your opinion, that you're explaining to people what needs to be done. It's never been done before.
Oh, it should be. I mean, we shouldn't just say, well, if you don't like it, here, fill out this form and bring your checkbook. I mean, it should be explained.
I'm always like,
For the $500-600 level, I think that's a little easier to swallow than
What I would like to hear then, Robin would like to amend her motion to reflect.
Actually, Robert's rules. Her motion is no longer her motion. She's made the motion. It's been seconded. Anybody can amend the motion. It's not, does not have to be Robin. So just saying.
It could be anyone then
Yeah, because it's not her motion anymore after,
after it's done.
I will have to check.
Wait a minute.
sorry.
Okay, I will.
Okay.
So Heath, if you would like to put forth your recommendation, I believe the council liked. The only thing I would like to add is Joanne had also mentioned about any professional fees on which item was it again that we would add that to?
All of them.
The other ones.
He's got escrows listed.
Okay,
Yes, we don't want to discourage people.
no, we don't want to discourage.
We don't want to have the fee so high that
No,
we're discouraging someone from doing something either. So
What I suggest is. $500.
What was the first one, Heath? First 6? Okay, thanks.
And for the appeal. About 600, right, not review, so.
No, I purposely avoided the address.
I just still have a problem with the conditional use permit because the conditional use permit is based off what our zoning is. So either, I mean, if you come in and you want a conditional use permit, it's either, let's just take an R1 district, for example, it's either allowed in an R1 district or it's not allowed. In an R1 district. And that's what they do when they come before the city plan commission. So we look through the zoning book, it's either allowed or it's not allowed. Should that cost $500? To say we can't, we're sitting here at a meeting, that's cost $500?
Well, I would suggest.
please.
They aren't something we just charge somebody.
Right, and they should be renewed.
And they.
Renewed. Mhm. They should have an
Because they may be
expiration.
temporary.
Okay.
Something where we're not entirely sure it's the right fit for every single property in that particular zone.
As,
So that's why we want to attach.
That's why they get evaluated.
exactly.
It's approved in
It's-
certain circumstances if after the review.
It's your tool.
Right.
It's your tool to be able to say, okay, if you're getting complaints because some activity is going on, that's not,
It's our tool to make this control.
it's the way you being controlled.
But if we put conditions on the conditional use, does the attorney review that then?
Well, we can.
But if we don't, then it's just done at the committee, it's just done at the commission level. Correct? Or does the council have to approve? If we're
The council
putting
doesn't.
conditions on a conditional use,
Not true. However, you can comply with state law. What the state. Have a condition. The applicant has to be. Prepared to demonstrate. Substantial compliance with that. That's state law. So. If you don't provide any real clarity as to what it means, why you're requiring. it, wonder why you- Where I come in is that. frequently, site plan is always really frustrating. So something sort of gets built down, but. And part of the rationale for conditional use is tie it to a specific condition that apply to the terms of the operation. Whether they're going to
by specific. Those are the kinds of things that I don't with them. I also mentioned that from my perspective, going through the program, I want to plan commission as rare as possible and do it as totally rare as it is. But I don't want to make people go through that people having to do it that get set up as not realistic. My objective is to what's on the ground is perfectly fine as it is. I'm sure it's not.
You have something over here?
Yeah, so like. say for instance, something like a beauty shop, or somebody's a massage therapist or a chiropractor, whatever, and now they're placing. Not going to be the business anymore, and they want to move their practice to their home. That would be
If
Yeah.
it's listed as a conditional
Yeah.
use.
correct. That would be like the situation someone might want to do that. Specified amount of time.
Good, you get something that is $1,000. First, it's council's final decision. For the decision. Hopefully, right. Site plans, plan commission. All the way to council. And council can decide. In my past experience. Final. Development of the master plan. Typically, want the final decision. If it's a conditional use for the site plan, but if it's just a normal site plan, that would go before the building inspector anyway. Well, if it's a conditional use that requires a site plan, but if someone's building and they submit a site plan to the building inspector,
That's different.
then the building inspector will.
Yeah.
That would be a conformed use already.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, I come from a frame. So site plan. Basically. Sure that the decision making body decides that it's okay. Or they grant the waiver.
Okay, so if we want to review the amended motion. You had something? Okay.
So,
So which fees are changing from what's currently on the packet?
Conditional use from 1,000 to 1,000 plus reviews for the 600. The variance would go from 1,000 to 500. And this would go from 1,000 to 600.
Are we including any professional fees to be taken on?
We're just putting a conditional thing on that. Application. Thing. About.
Make that a part of your motion
Yeah, they should be.
so that we have something in writing to back that up.
So that's your motion to be amended to? All right, we have a amended motion. Do we have a second? Any further discussion? Robin,
Okay.
we have a motion and a second. Go ahead, Wendy.
just be fair. And I think you're writing, but just can you read back what you're writing on? So.
They say, I get, yeah. If I could write it, because you guys are like, yep, that's the motion.
Okay, so basically. It's an additional use. 1,000 to 600, correct?
Correct.
Variance is going from 1,000.
To 500.
Appeal,
1,000 to 600.
okay, and then what we're doing is either on the form there.
Clear on the amended motion. Everything else in the fee schedule is as submitted. Any further discussion?
did say we were gonna move that column over.
So that
underneath that.
building, that, paid application.
Yes.
Gets moved over to. Same with this month below it.
That has been clarified.
That will be.
Oh, you're talking to me? Sorry, I'm still writing.
You're fine.
Flip your page.
Any further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
No error.
Currently, I think there's a little bit of a place, for example, in Wisconsin, property. Jimmy wrote a letter to the homeowners on that a month or two ago, and I think we're put off in memory, so I'm on so much a day, but then there's no follow through on it. So I think at some point, I think we need to.
There is follow through on. Has been followed.
But the letter's been written, and it clearly stated that, if they don't deal with the property by a certain date, it's a $1,500 fine.
And some of these things get difficult and can take a long time to iron out. It's the nature of some of it's not like, you didn't shovel your sidewalk, so we're gonna contract somebody to do it, get it done, put it on your tax roll or whatever. It was discussed some other potential that they could do, so we're hoping it gets resolved. That is a big issue in the city right now that we would like to see rectified, so. All right, then we'll move on to item E, approve resolution amending fiscal year 2022 budget for election booths, accounting software, lead lateral replacement and water tower. Some overruns that were approved by council, but did not meet the previous budgeted amount. So do you want to?
This is just
Year end?
a resolution.
There's-
Money. Transfers in. Fund as well as. Miscellaneous.
Security grant.
And then on the water utility.
That's not election security. I'll
Of
look into it.
lateral replacement along with transfer fund balance for the same number. And also transfer. The water tower. And then move those items over to capital outlay. This is basically the finalizing changes. Money from one account line to another. I'll move.
Other discussion? We will, yeah, I just didn't know if we had any further discussion.
They did?
We sent it up here for approval.
Thanks for your concern.
No kidding?
All right, please call the roll.
How? Are we done? Are we done talking?
Was there any further discussion? If not, please call the roll.
Okay, Woznicki. Brown. Blaha.
Yes.
Brewster. Shelton. Zimmerman.
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
Taylor.
Motion carried. F, approve resolution adopting fiscal year 2023 employee wages. Go ahead.
This is a resolution that. It's clear. Just to make it easier for the auditor to. Approve rates.
Yes, in order for me, this backs me up to say that you guys approve the wages and I can, give them the new wages.
And this would go to finance.
So do we have a motion to approve the resolution? Nina, second. John? Further discussion?
So what's a child librarian?
I think we have it on the resolution for ayes and nays. But I could never find it in here.
So we'll call the roll, anyone?
I'll call the roll. Or you can call the roll and then I'll yell it.
No, I'll defer. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Yes, so I'm gonna call the roll so I know who yayed and nayed. Sorry. Brown,
Yes.
Slaha,
Yes.
Brewster,
Aye.
Shelton,
Aye.
Zimmerman,
Aye.
Nelson,
Aye.
Taylor,
Yep.
Wiznicki.
8G, approve changes to water utility billing practices. So the property tax bills have gone out. There was a brief note put in there, so I'll read that quick. The city of Kewaunee would like you to be aware of a water and sewer utility increase of 4.5% starting in December 2022. This may seem a large increase, but please understand that there was a 3% recommended increase that was not added to water or sewer in January of last year. Additionally, there will be a change for the fire hydrant rental fee and the utility bill starting in the second half of 2023. Our previous rental fee was taken out of the city's general fund, which is primarily based on property tax. This will allow the city to have more funds to devote to projects such as road maintenance. This change will make the hydrant fee equally distributed throughout the water utility. So I don't know, Joanne, if you wanted to put anything around that, like we talked earlier, you had some.
Well, it just,
Language.
when we say that it'll be evenly distributed through the water utility, it's because properties that are tax exempt, like the city of Kewaunee, if you have churches, schools, they're tax exempt, so they're not paying property taxes. So therefore, having that in the tax levy, they're not paying their share towards the hydrant, upkeep. So by putting it on the utility, they are utility users, and therefore they will get that charges on their utility bill, like the rest, like all your residential and commercial properties
So
and stuff.
every person that receives a water bill will portion of this.
Correct. And now there's also a side note to that, with talking with, the auditor lady that's helping us with our, water rate case, study. She said that you could also do vacant lots.
Oh,
So if, there's, because the vacant lots aren't getting a utility bill, you could also, you could charge a vacant lot that fee so that, because they're there. And if there's a fire on, that property, they're going to use the system. So that's something that you could do. But then the other side of this too, was that we were talking about going to, because right now you guys use and I can't think of the word. Thank you, declining rate block. And, or is that the next one? Or is this is all part of it. So then, we would go to a uniformed, rate. So right now, like your users, anything, like up 0 gallons to 20,000 gallons gets one fee. Then you have, after that, then it's 20,000, 1 gallon to like 600 and some thousand gallons. Yeah, it's a huge, the majority of our users are under 20,000 gallons. So, if we went to a uniformed, rate, it would be, everybody would fall under that 20, that we would say up to 20,000 gallons. Your commercial properties would still be on that declining rate block. So does that make any sense?
No.
Mhm.
Well, yes and no. So what you're saying then is the fee could change from each individual homeowner? Or the fee would remain the same?
Well, the fee is going to be based off of the rate, whatever the rate is.
The gallons of usage?
The gallons of usage will be dependent. Yes, it determines your rate.
So we're not talking about that, I'm talking about the fixed rate. If the fixed rate will be, what you're saying is the fixed rate will be the same. Let's just use the $15 or $30 that we discussed,
Okay, we're talking two different things, John.
okay?
That is the hydrant rental.
No, okay.
Okay,
Oh, you're talking about that.
so yes,
What we're talking about here is right now, we charge the fee. Correct. That's one rate for up to 20,000 gallons.
Correct.
that point to $46,650. Then it's a different rate starting at that point, which is.
It drops.
the lower rate.
Right.
And then have a dip over that point. That's why the problem is that we're trying to make everybody, so most of the users, residential customers. only get 20,000. Yeah, they're.
Mhm.
So now you're saying people, well, places like, oh, like nursing home, like hotel.
That'll be on the declining rate block.
It is
Yeah.
now currently, it's not, it's kind of.
They would stay on it.
Yeah, the commercial customers, they would stand in the declining rate block. because they're the ones that tend to use the larger gallons. And in this case, what it does for us is it allows staff to simplify our billing structure because now we're not having to track, to see how many gallons are. The rate and that's it. Because the bulk of our customers will be on a flat rate. Say, residential customers own $20,000, $20,000.
For filling swimming.
Yeah, or cleaning. Spraying the fence.
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah.
But that would literally be somebody else spraying the fence down. But then they should probably have an outside faucet with separate meter on. Yeah, I mean, if they're watering their lawn.
Get deduct meter, yeah.
You know, then they should have a
Have
separate.
that option for people.
Yep. We do.
That option, you can fill in your pool, whatever they want. It should also be noted that, so with the hydrant rental, it historically just always was paid for out of the general fund.
Mhm.
And now, I don't know if the law with the PSC has recently changed, but did the law actually change or the practice has just become more
I think,
common?
as far as I know, I think it's the practice is changing because municipalities are finding it harder and harder
Your
to,
general fund is a locked fixed amount. It just is
Right.
not increasing.
right, and so they're seeing that these hydrant rentals are a big chunk of their operating budget. And so by removing it, it's freeing up, general expense money to do other things and moving it to the utility where the utility is, should be bearing the cost because it belongs to the utility.
And again, that's regulated by the Public Service Commission. And, it could be looked at that you're moving from one fund to another fund. Well, that's true, but the water utility is a restricted fund. We can't pull money out of the water utility to fix streets.
Right.
And so, every year that we're sitting down at budget time, it's not what projects are we gonna work on, it's what are we gonna cut? And that's just been the norm trend for how many years? So yeah, it's gonna be a user fee base more than anything. And I think, the fact it'll help with the general fund. I honestly don't know why it wasn't. I know John and I had asked this question, how many times throughout the years this hydrant rental has come up? Cause it's just a standout dollar amount and it's like,
It really made a difference in the budget.
right,
And that was my next comment, was that if we don't do it, then we have a budget problem,
Or we don't, and we have no money to do anything.
anything. Or
we still have a lot of money in the budget to do that. I mean, what, another $90,000 for streets or something like that, or 90,000, not another 90. And that's not a lot of money.
Yeah.
That might do a radius on a corner or something.
So, and then next year we'll have a little bit more. Because the full-
Right.
The full fee will be on the water. Bill.
All right, so yes, we need a motion.
I make a motion that we accept.
Building practices for your water utility.
One second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by,
Well,
Wendy, go ahead.
do we want to approve charging the hydrographic fee? I mean, is this after you use two motions?
I don't believe so. I think they're all correct. They're both in here.
it's your choice to do A or B or all together.
So do we want to approve charging the rental fee to vacant properties?
I don't, they don't have a meter.
So.
I don't think so.
So this would just be it.
Yeah.
That was- clarify.
So, but it'll be hydrant rental and it'll be the billing. Uniform rate.
I think that's a little, I think we need to do a roll call vote on it.
Okay, well, call the roll, please, unless there's further discussion. Please call the roll.
Blaha,
Yes.
Brewster.
Aye.
Shelton.
Aye.
Zimmerman. Nelson.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Woznicki.
Aye.
Brown.
Motion carried. Thank you. 8H, review and approve 2023 meeting dates, was brought to my attention. We had error for the Public Works Committee. The one that's Thursday, January 5th, should be Wednesday, the 4th of January at 5:30. Am I correct? Okay, and Miss Nelson, Shelton.
I am requesting the January 3rd finance meeting be moved to January 5th. Move it from Tuesday.
Any other corrections?
John, are you okay with the public works meeting? Yeah, I prefer that.
Can see what day January 5th is that.
Thursday.
Thursday. Yeah, I think that's fine.
The 4th is on Wednesday, so.
The 4th is on Wednesday, 5:30.
I don't know.
Right?
Yeah, that should be, yeah, a little bit later, better for the finances is.
You had too much
is better
caffeine
for me.
today.
For later, that's a public.
Well, the public works is, what time?
5:30.
Yeah, I think so. I'll come to my work goals again, Nathan, but.
Don't have confession or anything other than
Have it at the shop.
That's Thursday mornings. All right, then do I have a motion? Oh, go ahead, Wendy.
the July 4th finance meeting.
Not gonna be here.
That's why I put it on there.
So, maybe we can move that to the 6th. Oh, I don't know.
At finance or is that public works?
Are we?
I'm on
Okay.
finance and public works.
You are.
Well, July 4th for finance, you would like to reschedule to what?
I was gonna say July 6th, but there's a public works meeting. I guess we could, if Robin, if you do July.
It was in our.
On page 150.
Yeah, just scroll through to 150 quickly.
Just type it in. 150.
So instead of July 4th, would it be acceptable for the finance people to have it on July 5th? I don't know what the other was.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. with me. So the 21st is before the Christmas. But we can do it, we can have a meeting. That's part of the. That applies actually about. New Year's Eve. Technically, under your rules, you're supposed to have. If you have a holiday that falls on a Sunday, you're supposed to take them off, so. Very much stays in the holiday. So. My thought was. Friday, Monday again. Because otherwise, then you're moving one of those holidays.
To get booked back.
need a public properties meeting?
Well, this December, but
It's
in
December.
historically, there's a lot on the public property committee's plate, but historically, they did not meet monthly.
Okay.
When we had standing committees, public property and personnel did not meet monthly.
So for the
It was as needed.
23rd here, do we need a properties meeting?
It's very hard to
Can
predict.
state.
You're away.
At this point.
Yeah,
I mean, how would we know that? Right now.
these meetings can be amended throughout the year as well. This does not have to be in stone tonight.
For Christmas, I will pick a magic 8 ball or a Ouija board to find the answer.
So we've got the changes from the July 4th for finance to the 5th. The public works from Thursday, January 5th to Wednesday, the 4th at 5:30. And the Tuesday, January 3rd, finance moved to 5 January. Okay, so again, it's not in stone, but that at least gives us something to plan for going forward. Do I have a motion to accept the 2023 meeting dates with the changes as noted?
Discuss the floating home and all that with this. That's out here too.
The structure of how it's written is things that you're gonna need.
Right, okay.
Rather than
So we need to discuss this at some point.
Well, yeah, I mean, what you can do is you need to, personnel can decide to tackle this at some point, but. Those are decisions.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's basically, we wanted to inform you that in order to do this structure, it's impossible and the personnel memo is structure. Quality structure, all things, but in the same level. Same down.
So that'll be a.
So we can address some of that going forward.
Yeah.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. All right, financial reports, month ending October 2022. Ms. Shelton.
So this is the same issue that's coming up. We're transitioning from building to workforce. We're having the numbers are not quite.
Well, but to kind of explain that, there was a process with the billing side of the utility that wasn't being completed. And, because we noticed the numbers were changing, and then in July, they just kind of stagnated, they stayed the same. Okay, well, like I said, there was a process that was not explained to me that needed to be done. And so, working with that auditor that's doing the rate case, I kind of threw it out to her and said, can you help me out with this? Why is it this way? And she did some looking at things and she said, well, there's all these, when you do the billing, you have to bring it into the accounting program. So when the billing was being done, it wasn't being brought into the accounting program. So it was still sitting out there within Banyan. So it was sitting out there, and I didn't know that this had to be done. Nobody from, Bauman and Associates explained to me that I needed to do this. And to kind of reiterate that there was a payroll, there's the same thing with payroll. You do payroll and it just kind of stops when you're done with payroll. If you don't bring it into the accounting program.
And this was not written down by the previous one.
No, it was not. And so when working with Bauman, they explained these processes and I wrote them down, and I even showed Wendy, I said, here's my notes. So now I know to do this. So now, again, I know at least for our next billing, which will be at the end of this month, is going to be done in Workhorse. So I don't have to worry about it. I mean, Workhorse has the same thing. You work in the utility and you have to interface it, as they say, into the accounting program. But at least I know that because I've worked in the program. So I know to follow through. With Banyan, I didn't know to follow through because, well, first of all, I wasn't doing the billing. So I didn't know that there was a step being missed, or not kind of missed, but not
Omitted.
Well, I didn't know that it wasn't being done because I just assumed that, if you're doing the billing, that you would do it to, beginning to end. Same thing with the payroll, beginning to end,
Is somebody going back and doing that?
Well, I did.
So Canyon is caught up now.
Yes, so we,
So we can assume that the November numbers will be.
better. Cause because I'm not gonna say they're right because I don't know, but I mean, they're gonna be better than what they've been because, I've done the process, so I've got them in there.
How's the data migration going into Workforce?
It's going good. Well, payroll, I'm working right now on setting up the pay categories and getting them all, set to going to what general ledger numbers that they need to go to. That is time consuming. The utility side, Karen has been working on that and working, you know, with Workhorse. She's doing a lot of right now, she's like doing move-ins and move-outs. Because it's done differently, of course, in Workhorse than it was in Banyan. In Banyan, she waited until the billing cycle, you know, and that's when she had to do it. In Workhorse, you do it as a closing date. So you know, it's a different you just do it and it keeps everything up to date as it's live, I guess, if you want to say current.
I make a motion to approve the financial report once ending October 22nd. Acknowledging that there was a step there. How's that?
Which is currently being corrected.
It's probably just the thing that
We have a
No,
motion. Is there a second?
Joanne, is that?
We have a motion. Is there a second? Thank you. All right, go ahead with discussion.
Feeling that accurately portrays the situation, Joanne, or not really?
I think it does. I mean, you know, there was a step process that was omitted. For lack of knowledge of doing it, whatever, but it's been corrected.
Finish. Process.
Say that again?
Yeah.
The lack of
Lack of
communication
turnover.
to you to finish.
But
Because it
you don't have
wasn't-
to add that.
All right.
Was there any further discussion on that?
There's no fault in you. My point is not fault, it's just that you have a caveat to.
Well, and I just want you guys to be aware, this is, you know, this is what happened. I mean, I'm not hiding anything, so.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Working with what we have. Roll on that, please.
I.
Any opposed?
Do you want it rolled, call? Okay.
Motion carried.
Nice. Somebody-
Announcements tonight.
Are we that far? All right, thank you, John.
Christmas in the village starts on Friday.
What
so
village?
Down
Casco?
Lake Haven Hall. You know, you need to get with those. So.
Any second? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carried.
What do we know about you? Zach?
That was all financial. Okay. Not yet. I'm trying. Oh my God, give me a minute. This like. Okay.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of conversions in computers and I know what yes, it is. So I appreciate with your patience on that, especially. People don't realize how much